Right, so if you'd like to guide me through your role for the organisation of the tournament.
Okay, so my role at the centre is the Chief Operating Officer, and when the tournament is on, what I'm to do is to liaise with the tournament director around the facility and the facility specification, as in what it is that we're using of the centre, what are the capacity elements about the spectator seating, also about the players area. I'm also responsible for the cleanliness of the facility, so we have specific cleaning teams that come in who manage the spectator toilets, the players area, the food and beverage area as well. So I generally try and look after pretty much all of the operational aspects that you might sort of consider with such a sort of an international global event, if you like. So the other things like security, that would be something else that I would be responsible for. So looking at making sure that the security are letting people in at the right stage, people with the correct accreditation are getting through to certain areas into the facility as well. So I'm helping and supporting the tournament director with all of those different aspects.
So what's the history of the tennis club and this event as a whole?
So there is a long history. You probably need to have a little bit more detailed research on it, but we've had loads of international events at the facility for a long period of time. We've hosted Davis Cup ties, we've hosted Federation Cup ties, we used to host just the ATP Tour event, and now we're hosting obviously an ATP Challenger event, which is a lower tier, and then a WTA Tour event. So there's a lot of history around the facility. It was opened in 1990 by Princess Diana, and it's had a lot of sort of big, large-scale tennis events with international players. Tim Henman, Andy Murray's played here, so has Greg Rosetsky, plus all of other top-named international players. So there's been a long history with the Lawn Tennis Association and the International Tennis Federation, the ITF, with hosting international events down at the facility.
Do you think the whole centre is growing then? Do you think it will continue to grow as well?
Yeah, we hope so. So there was a period where we didn't have any events, we didn't have an international event, and then the LTA, the Lawn Tennis Association, and the City Council sat down at the table again and negotiated and worked something out. And the plan would be to have more and more events and to continue with the existing event that we have year on year. It fits well into the grass court calendar for both the women and the men's calendar and seasonality with the grass courts leading up into Wimbledon. So yeah, we would definitely like to, but you know, crazier things have happened in a shorter period of time. So fingers crossed, if things keep going the way they're going, then hopefully we should still have it.
Which individuals do you have to liaise with to do your job to the full extent?
So there's a lot of stakeholders involved. So there's obviously some senior politicians and also senior members of the City Council that we need to liaise with in order to be able to host the facility and also host the event at the facility, and also at the Lawn Tennis Association. So there's those type of people. There's also the people from the two sort of, I'll say, governing bodies of the WTA and the ATP. So we link with those stakeholders as well. So they're quite important. And then I guess it's the contractors or the companies that come in to help deliver the tournament. So Eurosport was one of the TV companies that we have. To liaising with them. Sky Sports do a little bit as well, and so it's trying to liaise with those as well as, you know, the important people who look after the food for all of our customers, and you know, the people who provide all of the restrooms and those type of things as well. So there's lots of stakeholders involved, from senior people down to the volunteers who try and make the experience really special for all of our spectators.
You were mentioning the women's role and how it has contributed to make the tournament bigger and bigger. And last year you had the current #1 player
Yes.
in the world Naomi Osaka.
Yes.
And she was a semi-finalist here, if I recall correctly. Do you think that you'll be able to attract such big names this year as well, like Osaka, Alex de Minaur, who's obviously a great up-and-coming player? Do you feel like that will be the case?
So, well, we hope so. We also had Sam Stosur, who's an ex-Grand Slam. Obviously, she's not as high in the rankings as what she was. So we were very lucky. So we had a very strong field, and obviously with Joanna Conta being here as well. She's made the final 2 years in a row now. So we're hoping that she'll come back again. I think a lot of it with the top players will be around how they progress through the French Open, because sometimes they finish early and then because they get knocked out, and then they want to get on the grass courts as soon as they can. Yeah, a lot of the other ones, if they go longer through the French, then they might start a little bit later, maybe go and start there at Birmingham. Now, ours is a 250 event, the women's, where Birmingham's a 500, so the ranking points are different as well, and the amount of seeded players that you can have, or in the top 10 or the top 20. So we're a little bit limited in that, but you know, like you mentioned, we had some great people last year, and it'd be great if Naomi came back again. But I'm maybe she's going somewhere else first, or got some other plans. But we hope to have Joe and a few others, and I guess the tournament director, Rebecca James, she'll be looking to try and get us obviously the best field possible. The men's is a different one because it's a Challenger Tour trophy. It's the highest Challenger Tour trophy. So
it's a 125, right?
Yeah, so the 100 grand. Yeah. So Alex, again, I'd love it if he came back. We had 2 Australian winners, and not that I'm biased for that, being Australian myself, but I think we might struggle for him to come back. But again, it's great for seeing some of the British talent come through, and some of the younger guys, Cam Norrie, you know, Dan Evans, again, he's doing really well at the moment. So hopefully he might come back. And even Kyle Edmonds played a Challenger Tour over in the States last. Exactly. So we don't know, but it's really nice to know with people like Alex. You know, he won here first year, and it was sort of the start of his climb, and we hope that they remember us, and maybe. But yeah, so we have to have a see. But you know, Rebecca James, again, the tournament director, should be trying really hard to get as many of those top players as possible.
So the LTA contributes a lot during the time of the tournament, or in the time leading up to the tournament. But how is the financing for the structure coming from the LTA? How is the whole structure financed? Is it a private institution? Who are the stakeholders?
Okay, so the LTA are the funder, or they fund the tournament. What the City Council do is give the facility to the LTA in order to host the event. And that's where we work in the partnership of that. When it comes to the cost of the facility, so we build a players' lounge area, we put in marquees, we do all of that cost is absorbed by the LTA. So they pay for all of that, and they pay for all of the tournaments. So Nottingham, Birmingham, Eastbourne, Queens, and so on. So they fund all of those, so that the cost is directly absorbed by the LTA. And generally speaking, there's not a lot of profit in that. There's generally the tournaments run at a loss due to the expense and the cost, and the grass courts costing X, Y, and Z to maintain, etc., etc.
One final question.
Sure.
Are there any professional players based here? Because I know that there are a few who are based in Roehampton, for instance. Are there any based here?
So the LTA have just launched a new performance pathway, and there's a national academy at Loughborough University.
And the other one in Stirling.
Correct, yeah. And we at the centre have a regional, an RPDC, a regional player development centre, and also an LPD, which is Local Player Development
Okay.
Centre. And that's for 14 and unders, and then 11 to 14s, and then from 10 below. So we have the two younger age categories that we hope we will feed into the national. In relation to sort of international players, or we have one player, Freya Christie, who you maybe have not heard. She was up to about 300 in the world in singles. I think she's about 250 in doubles now. So she trains here with us. She's Nottingham born and bred. We also used to have Dan Evans practice here quite a lot because Mark Hilton, his coach, is from Nottingham, so they used to train a lot here. Not so much now. Mark still comes here when he's home and not travelling around. He's with Kyle now at the moment. And then the other person who does practice here a bit, who we're trying to support, is Jay Clark. Okay, so Jay obviously did very well in the mixed doubles.
The wild card last year.
Yeah, he had wild card in the singles, and then I think they made the quarters or semi-finals of mixed with Harriet Dart. If you have a check last year, I'm sure you'll see that one. I'm pretty sure, and that's Harriet Dart who did well in the Fed Cup in the doubles. So yeah, so he practices here as well. But outside of that, we don't.
Well, there's quite a few names.
Well, we're a fantastic facility. We're the biggest community indoor centre in, well, arguably in Europe.